Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa and I am so happy that you're here with us this morning. I'm over the moon. I'm loving our theme this month. I don't know, there's something about it. Maybe it's just the name. It's the Holy Uprising. I love that. And I'm feeling that. I feel like I have stretched and grown as I've been preparing these messages and listening to our music, which has just been off the charts. And I'm just loving it. I'm really loving it. Holy Uprising. Welcome to the Holy Uprising that we're creating. Have you been feeling that too? I hope that you have. Maybe you can send me an email and let me know. And if this is your first day with us, welcome. I'm super excited that you're here with us. I'm happy always to have new folks joining us. But I want to encourage you to go back and listen to the last two Sundays also, because this theme's going throughout the month, and I just really, I don't know, a holy uprising is exactly that, right? It's an evolutionary pull and urge, a desire that's just growing in us and rising, and our vibration is rising. And I feel like our music and everything has just taken a big uptick this month. It's just exciting for me. So all our messages with the music are archived. So you can go to Facebook, you can go to YouTube and check out not only the last 2 weeks, but any in the past, over the past year plus that we've been doing this. And if you are like me and you're feeling this uprising and you're really feeling the shift in consciousness that's happening, I implore you, I ask you, please share. Please share this link. Please invite your friends. Because together we're creating a world that works. We're doing this work together. And even though it starts always with ourselves, and it starts within our own consciousness, and it starts with us healing ourselves of false beliefs, all of that is rippling out. All of that is making such an incredible difference in the world. So again, this month we are creating a holy uprising here. And today we're allowing for a more expansive idea of God. Whatever word you choose to use for that, by whatever name, energy, spirit, universe, source, substance, it doesn't matter. Allah, Buddha, Jesus, it doesn't matter. But we want a greater picture, right? A bigger idea. So today we're shifting our consciousness around that. Let's begin with a spiritual mind treatment, which is what we call affirmative prayer. Let's go to that place in consciousness where we know that life is created. What I recognize right here and right now is that there is a power and a presence in this universe, in this realm, on earth, here, now, present to me now, that I can use, that I can speak my word into and expect and receive a response. I know that I am doing this dance with this thing called life, that it is moving, it is animating me, it is acting in, as, and through me. And I lean into it right now. I release, I let go, I fall into the abyss of its love, of its unconditional love. I fall into its creative intelligence and allow it to bring forth new ideas, greater possibilities into my mind's awareness. I am open and receptive. Mind, body, spirit, heart. I am open and receptive to increasing my vibration, my presence in the world. I am committed to shining my light. And what I know for myself, I claim and I know for each one of us. for everyone everywhere is in fact that divine, unique expression, incarnation of the One. The One has multiplied and diversified itself, and we see it peopled all over the world. It is so magnificent. And it is even beyond what we see, beyond anything we've ever experienced now. I claim this experience this morning for myself and for each one of us. And so no matter whether it's through the music, through the sharing, the readings, the message, I affirm for each one of us that there's an uplift, there's an uprising, a holy, holy uprising taking place here and now. I claim it to be good and oh so good, so very good. And so it is. I love to do that. Thank you so much for sharing in the consciousness of that treatment. And now I want to introduce my beloved, Bobby Feberts, your practitioner and our musical guest this morning.
Good morning, Theresa. Thank you. Starting with a song from Faith Rivera called Together. Together we take a stand for love. Together we make a change for good. Together we break the chains of sorrow. Together we live the truth. Together we raise our voice for peace. Together we sing and jump for joy. Together we move, we groove, we dance. Together we live the truth. In every part of me there's a part of you, oh yeah, alright. And when I'm loving me, I'm loving you, oh yeah, alright. Today we live the truth and the future's bright. Together we walk and talk with spirit. Together we boldly shape our dreams. Together we share a life of freedom. Together we live the truth. In every part of me there's a part of you, oh yeah, alright. And when I'm loving me, I am loving you, oh yeah, alright. Today we live the truth and the future's bright. We live and breathe in this world of kindness and compassion. We free our love, we free our life, we free the truth, and the future's bright. Together we take a stand for love. Together we make a change for good. Together we break the chains of sorrow. Together we live the truth. In every part of me there's a part of you, oh yeah, alright. And when I'm loving me, I am loving loving you, oh yeah, alright. Today we live the truth and the future's bright. The future's bright. The future's bright. Together. And now we have a reading from Susie.
Thank you, Bobby. That was lovely. Today, I'm going to read a story about a little boy's meeting with God. Because when I was a little girl, I looked everywhere for him. And I think this is perfect. There once was a little boy who wanted to meet God. He knew it was a long trip to where God lived. So he packed his suitcase with Twinkies and a 6-pack of root beer. And he started out on his journey. When he had gone about 3 blocks, he met an old woman. She was sitting in the park just staring at some of the pigeons. The boy sat down next to her and opened his suitcase. He was about to take a drink of his root beer when he noticed that that old lady looked hungry. So he offered her a Twinkie. She gratefully accepted it and smiled at him. Her smile was so pretty that the boy wanted to see it again. So he offered her a root beer. Once again, she smiled at him. The boy was delighted. They sat there all afternoon, eating and smiling. But they never said a word. As it grew dark, the boy realized how tired he was. And he got up to leave. But before he had gone more than a few steps, he turned around. He ran back to the old woman and gave her a big hug. She gave him her biggest smile ever. When the boy opened the door to his own house a short time later, his mother was surprised by the look of joy on his face. She asked him, "What did you do today that made you so happy?" He replied, "I had lunch with God." But before his mother could respond, he added, "You know what? She's got the most beautiful smile ever." Meanwhile, the old woman, also radiant with joy, returned to her home. Her son was stunned by the look of peace on her face, and he asked her, "Mother, what did you do today that made you so happy?" She replied, "I ate Twinkies in the park with God." But before her son responded, she added, "You know, he's much younger than I expected." Moral of the story, God is everywhere. We just need to share our happiness and make others smile to feel him. The quote is from Science of Mind magazine. "For God is not separate from what he is doing. The divine life is in everyone and everything." Ernest Holmes. And now back to Bobby.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you. That was touching. Oh my gosh. All right. This next song is from someone you all, if you've been watching us a while, you know, Len Seligman. This song is called True, Helpful, and Kind. This really fits in with what we're talking about today. Driving down a country road, the weather was so fine. I read words of wisdom on a small town church's sign. It said, "Be careful of the words you use, keep them short and sweet. You never know from day to day which ones you'll have to eat." So I asked myself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Don't want to leave a mess behind. Maybe I'll press pause before I exercise my jaws. Just three simple questions save me every time. When I ask myself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? May I speak with integrity and keep my conscience clean. Steer clear of harmful gossip and say only what I mean. Karma's like a rubber band. You can only stretch so far. You get back what you give, no matter who you are. And I ask myself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Don't want to leave a mess behind. Maybe I'll press pause before I exercise my jaws. Just three simple questions save me every time. When I ask myself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? I'd like to leave an open door, talk a lot less and listen more. Whatever I'm about to say, is it better than silence? Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Don't want to leave a mess behind. Maybe I'll press pause before I exercise my jaws. Just three simple questions save me every time. When I ask myself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind?
And the crowd goes wild.
Oh, thank you, Theresa.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby, and thank you, Len, for writing that song. I love it. I love it. It's got to be one of my all-time faves. That's a really great one. So as I said when I opened, we are continuing our Holy Holy Uprising today, all month long, and I hope you are feeling that shift. I hope you are feeling that shift like I am. It's been really powerful so far. I want to thank Charlene Banks from the CSL in Leesburg, Virginia, for contributing to our message for today. You know, our Science of Mind teaching is leading humanity, I believe, leading humanity in this new paradigm of consciousness. I feel really strongly about that, you know, and you're invited every week, you're invited every day, every minute of every day to demonstrate this teaching in your own life. And then the more you do that and the more you share it with us, give us the feedback, the more we're creating excitement in our own center and the more we're affecting the communities around the world. That's the way it works. So this whole year, 2021, the Centers for Spiritual Living, our intention is really to present an evolutionary vision that's supported by wisdom, ancient wisdom, timeless truths. And so I'm going to offer a couple statements in support of that. And the first one is a statement from our Centers for Spiritual Living Global Vision. This is the evolutionary part of it. And in part, that statement reads, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. I am right behind that one. Love it. And then for the timeless wisdom part, the foundation upon which we stand, I'm going to read to you one of our core concepts. It's the core concept of oneness. Now, I talked about oneness last week. really, I have to find 52 different ways to say we're all one. We're all one. So here's how the core concept reads. There is one infinite reality. We call it many names, including but not limited to God, life, universal spirit, infinite intelligence, first cause, or the thing itself. The one infinite reality is undivided, complete, and whole within itself. This oneness creates out of itself and therefore includes the absolute and the relative, the tangible and the intangible, the physical and the metaphysical aspects of reality. I love reading those. And so I'm going to continue with just a little bit more if you'll indulge me this morning. We're going to do a little mini Science Mind 101. Just a few bullet points. Our true nature is divine. Our intelligence is universal mind, which functions at the level of our concept of it. There's a key. We are made of pure spirit. Each of us has within us a seed of perfection. However, in our ignorance of our true nature and our misuse of the law, we often bring suffering upon ourselves and others. As spiritual individuals on this journey, we strive for healing the suffering by remembering our true nature and by allowing Spirit to work for us by working through us. It always starts with us. It always starts with us. And it always starts in our awareness, in our consciousness of our connectivity to the allness, right? So what I really want for us today is to have a bigger concept of God, a bigger concept of who we are, a bigger concept of who each other is and why we're here. I want us to accept for ourselves and each other and the world greater possibilities. Is that too much to ask for just one Sunday morning? That's what I want. But in order to do this, we got to come clean. There are so many taboo topics. You know, some people think that we shouldn't discuss certain things in polite company or in church because it's too political, it's too negative, it's inappropriate somehow. But I've said this before, you've heard me say this before, if it's all God, then nothing's off the table. If it's all God, everything's fair game for me to talk about. So I'm suggesting that we shift our thinking and begin communicating courageously, openly, vulnerably about the things many of us would rather avoid talking about. So today, I really hope that we can shift our consciousness around our idea of God and especially around our idea of problems, what we perceive as problems in our lives. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith said, in God, awareness, problems dissolve because there are no real problems. In the mind of God, there's only perfect patterns of existence and divine ideas. I want to live in that consciousness, don't you? Yeah. So I've got 3 consciousness shifters for us this morning. The first one, we need to stop placing limits on God. It's unlimited, and we do that. We limit our good because we fail to realize what we're working with. It's infinite, it's eternal, it's everywhere present, and it's all powerful. Just like in Susie's story, the little boy and the woman realized it's in each one of us. And we manifest this in our lives to the degree that we remember this truth. Double-edged sword there, isn't it? Do you know the story of the 2 men that go fishing? One is an experienced fisherman and the other one isn't. And every time the experienced fisherman catches a big fish, he's all excited, he reels it in, he puts it in his ice chest to keep it fresh. And whenever the inexperienced fisherman caught a big fish, he'd throw it back. And so the experienced fisherman is watching this go on all day long, and finally he's getting rather tired of seeing this guy throw all the fish away, you know? And so he says, why do you keep throwing back all the big fish that you catch? And the inexperienced fisherman says, I only have a small frying pan. You know? Sometimes we're like that fisherman, the inexperienced one, where we throw back. We throw back the big dreams that we have. We throw back the big plans, the big jobs, the big opportunities. Because why? Because we don't believe we deserve it, because good things don't really ever happen to us, because we can't let ourselves accept all that good. I encourage you today to prepare yourself for bigger things, for gifts beyond what you've received thus far, maybe even gifts beyond what you've ever dreamed of. I encourage you to get a bigger pan. Get a bigger pan and hold it out for all the universal good. You know, prayer, affirmations, meditation, gratitude and forgiveness, all these spiritual practices and more, they expand our consciousness. They expand our awareness of the divine presence and the possibilities that are available for us. And as we begin to see ourselves from the truth of our being, from who we really are, we experience an inner life that is so much bigger and even more powerful than any of the external circumstances that we find ourselves in. And when we do this, our external circumstances must change, because they have to accommodate our new pan. They have to accommodate this greater mental equivalent that we are now creating in mind, in our consciousness. Ernest Holmes in the Science Mind textbook says it this way: our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle, which of itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything, every ask that we have, because it's infinite. Doesn't matter how big it is. It is entirely a question of our own receptivity, he says. So I want you to ask yourself, are there areas in your life where you're playing small? Maybe, where do you need a bigger pan? Where do you need to expand your consciousness? And I encourage you to do that. Now, our second consciousness shifter for this morning is face the fear. This is a big one for many of us. I want to encourage you not to get thrown off course by appearances. Appearances change. The sand shifts. But remember the Michael Beckwith quote: there are perfect patterns within everything. At the center of every circumstance, at the center of you, at the center of me, there is a prototype, Ernest Holmes called it. Even when it's not apparent to our visual, our eyes, even when it's not physically present to us, it is in the mind of God. There is a spiritual prototype. There is a perfect pattern. Another way we allow fear to stop us is those taboo topics that I already brought up. You know, often, especially in today's climate, we fear having uncomfortable conversations. So we avoid them. We don't have them. We say things like, oh, let's not get political. And so then it's off the table. I've found that oftentimes that causes more trouble than if we were to be direct and kind, as Bobby said. Is it truthful? Is it kind? You know, we can ask ourselves those questions. But I encourage you to remember that you are here now for a purpose with a purpose. So don't get caught up in the game of pretending as if everything's okay when it's not. That's not what we teach. And this doesn't apply just to social circumstances, but it's personal as well. You know, sometimes people don't speak up. We don't speak up about our experience to others because of some kind of superstition. I think it's a superstition, you know, where we think that if talking about a certain thing, we're giving it energy. I don't want to use that word. I don't want to give that situation energy. Well, our suppression of it gives it more energy. It takes more energy to hold it down and not talk about it. Remember, the second shifter is about facing our fear. Using the C word when there's been a cancer diagnosis. That's a big one I see often. People don't want to say the word. It takes far more energy to suppress that, to not say the word, than to be able to say the word and then move forward. Sometimes we don't call a friend when we need support for fear of looking like we don't have it all together. Do any of us have it all together? We're all on the spiral of becoming, aren't we? All of this, all of these things lead to what we call spiritual bypass. Now, I've talked about spiritual bypass before, but I really feel like it's important, and I really feel like it's something that gets a little messed up in the New Thought movement. Pretending something is okay when it isn't is not what Ernest Holmes taught. It is not what Science of Mind is about. And if you, there's a misunderstanding. If you fear speaking about what you're experiencing, what we do instead is we claim that it isn't permanent, that we announce that it doesn't have power. The situation doesn't have power. Remember, there's a spiritual prototype within each one of us. There's a pattern of perfection within each situation. So it doesn't have to remain. It doesn't have to have power over us. But we don't ignore it. We don't ignore it. There's a health. There's a wholeness. There's an unconditional love. There's an abundance of resources, finances, people to help, whatever it is that we need, whatever it is that we need, whenever we need it, wherever and however we need it. When we align ourselves with that truth and we open ourselves and become receptive, we also can honor our human experience at the same time. Remember, I say it often, we've got the 2 feet and we're walking in our humanity and we're walking in our divinity. One step, humanity and divinity. And here's another way that can reinforce us facing our fears is we need to use our authentic voice. When we do not, when we shy away from using our authentic voice, we rob other people the opportunity to do the same, to engage in a conversation with us using their own authentic voice. And we also rob ourselves of healing. When we first begin to exercise these muscles, you know, if you're one who has not faced their fears, if you're one that has not spoken out and cowered at uncomfortable conversations, or does some form of spiritual bypass, it may seem awkward at first. It's a muscle that we're exercising. But instead of the silence and staying in our place of private fear, Let us instead perfect the use of love and law, which is available to us. We must name the condition and know the truth about it. Know the spiritual prototype. Know the perfection inherent in the situation. And then we invest more energy in that knowing, in that truth, than the appearance. Yeah. Remember last week, I shared with you a couple really amazing stories of love and forgiveness. And those were tough stories, I'm sure, to listen to. They were very tough stories for me to read. It's a tough book. But it's a good book. It's an important book. It's important work for us to do in this world, to see no stranger. But can you imagine? It was an even tougher conversation for the people having them. But you heard the miraculous, seemingly miraculous healings that came from it. See, it seems easier to not ask than it does to seek clarity. It seems easier to avoid listening to somebody else's story and understanding really where they're coming from. But at what cost? At what cost do we do that? I've got here an exercise for you, a practice that you can try. How about watching the news with this new mindset? Watching the news, wondering about the backstory, naming a truth in the midst of it, looking at it, seeing where the spiritual prototype might be, and knowing that truth for these individuals that are somehow found themselves on the news. You can also ask yourself, what are the topics that you're reluctant to discuss with other people, even with your spiritual friends? And why? Why? Why is that? And here's our third shifter of consciousness, that our awareness of our higher consciousness, when we do this holy uprising, that it's beneficial for the whole world. That is the third consciousness shifter here, is when we're in that recognition that really the clearer we get about our spiritual path, the clearer we get about who and what we are, what our purpose is here, and how we overcome these problems that we have, how we step into these deep and rich conversations, all of that benefits the whole world. According to David R. Hawkins, who calibrated human consciousness from its lowest vibration, which he calibrated as shame, to its highest, which is enlightenment. He says the higher consciousness radiates a beneficial and healing effect on the world. So he did this using kinesthetic testing. He created a chart that explains what the mystics have always taught, that love is more powerful than hate, and that truth sets us free. In his book, Power versus Force, Hawkins writes, in this interconnected universe, every improvement we make in our private world improves the world at large for everyone. He goes on to say, simple kindness to oneself and all that lives is the most powerful transformational force of all. There's your holy uprising. We can all do that. When we dwell in the oneness of God, even when appearances would suggest something otherwise, we're having that holy uprising. We're shifting consciousness. And we can't, and I won't, gloss over our painful experiences, the painful areas in our lives, the issues in our lives and in the world. We're not going to hide behind platitudes that's like everything happens for a reason. We walk in our humanity and our divinity. And using the principles of oneness, we allow those uncomfortable topics to help us deepen our spiritual practices and grow in our compassion and find connection and expression, love, or we're able to express love then out into the world. And you aren't alone in this. You have this community of friends. You have practitioners to help you, to support you on this journey. Rev G and myself are in that practitioner core. And most importantly, your God is bigger than any problem you will ever have. And that's what I know for you this morning. Namaste and thank you. And now I'm going to invite Bobby back up to anchor this with a song.
Wow. Wowee. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you for that. This song is from Karen Drucker. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are. We are the ones, we are. I've been feeling like I can't make a difference. I've been feeling like there ain't no use. Feeling tired and a little unconscious. Coming up with every kind of excuse till I realize it's not all up to me. When we join together, we shape our destiny. To see a world where we are living as one. It can be, it shall be, it will be done. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are. We are the ones, we are. No one else is gonna make the changes. No savior's gonna drop from the sky. Nothing left to do but wake up, cause it's really up to you and I to take it one step at a time. To stand together with your hand in mine. Then we will see the world that we've been dreaming about. We need it now, the time is now, there is no doubt. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are. We are the ones, we are. I am the one that I've been waiting for. I am the one who will make that difference. I am the one who will change the world. Yes, I am the one. I am. I am the one. I am. Yes, you are the one. You are. You are the one. You are. Yes, we are the ones. We are. We are the ones. We are. Yes, we are the ones. And now, Emil.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Bobby. I've always loved that long line. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and to hear it in the song was even better. I first heard it in I don't know what the right language is these days, but a Native American prayer that I read a number of years ago. So we are indeed the ones we've been waiting for, and so here we are again, talking about the flow and the movement of all the love and the joy and the peace that each of us has and all that we have received. Just just take a moment, turn within, and just feel the gratitude for all that you have in your life, whatever it looks like. It may not be as much as what you want to have or as much as you might have had at another time, but here we are. We have what we have, and we can appreciate it. And as we appreciate it, as I mentioned last week, we receive it, and we can give from that space of appreciation. And I love to give to our center. I love to support it. I love to support its growth and continued existence. And I know that as we move slowly but surely toward going live again, we will have more and more needs for support and growth and all those kinds of things that we do. So I encourage you to use one of the links that's provided in this message or mail it in. There's address provided, and give from that heart space of knowing that you have indeed already received. And as we just take a minute to turn within, to feel the gratitude for all that we have received, knowing that it is the infinite blessing of Spirit that has given us all that we do have and so much more. That we flow and we move in this givingness, we flow and we move in this givingness as we give to support this wonderful Center for Spiritual Living. And I know for sure that as we do give, our gifts are blessed, and each giver is indeed blessed, and we are creating powerful ministry as the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. And so it is. And now back over to Bobby. Love and blessings.
Here.
Thank you, Emil. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
I love that song. I love that chant. And I look forward to when we get to do that in person again with each other. I do. I really do. As Rev G just said, we're getting to that time where we're gonna be looking at those things, and love to hear your feedback on that as well. I said earlier, I'd love to hear what you think of this theme, Holy, Holy Uprising, and are you feeling it? Are you feeling that shift? But I'm always open to feedback coming from you about our gatherings, about going back, in person together, classes, book studies. We've got some new things coming up. As you know, told you a couple weeks ago, Julie and the meditation group decided to take a summer sabbatical. So they're going to meet again in July. And so we thought, well, maybe we could do some other meditative things. So we've been talking to Annie Cedarberg, and we're going to do some nature walks, beach walks, maybe other places too. And we're looking at Thursday evenings, right, before sunset. I'd love your feedback on that as well. And Bobby and I are starting, well, we've been visioning on Tuesday mornings for a very, very long time, but we're going to open our home to you for that. And so we're going to have a Zoom link that'll be available to you. I do ask that you register for it. So I'm not putting the Zoom link out there for everybody, just those that want to pop in. So let us know about that. Send me an email. You can send that email to Theresa, Theresa, at cslculturalcoast.org. And love to hear from you. And we have these announcements and other information from our global organization, and on our email that goes out every Thursday morning. So you want to make sure that you're getting that. If you're on Facebook, you can go on Facebook and register right there for it, sign up for it there. I think it's under the More tab. And you can also go to our website, which is www.cslculturalcoast.org. Scroll to the bottom and you can sign up for the e-newsletter there. And we want to stay in touch and have a open conversation with you. Deeper communication, just like I was talking about today. Lastly, I just want to remind you that we are sponsoring, in part, one of the sponsors for bringing Hoodost to Fogartyville on May 29th, which is Saturday night, 8 o'clock. It'll be outside. They're going to do social distancing. If you go to the link that I'm providing in the newsletter or go to their WSLR website, they're telling you what they're doing for protocol, so you can have a comfort level there. And I just want to mention that Hoodost, we had an opportunity to do a house concert for them about a year and 3-4 months ago, and it was right before COVID. So we were planning on hosting this, and then they got called to go pick up an award somewhere. So they're a fabulous group, and I think that you're really going to love their music. And speaking of loving music, I'm going to turn it back over to Bobby. Rev G is going to be posting the link for Zoom. I won't be on it today, but he's going to be there to greet you and have a deeper conversation. Love you bunches.
Thank you, Theresa. And don't forget, like these pages, like these videos, share them, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do everything you can to get this message to folks because people need it. Also, if you need prayer support, prayer@cslculturalcoast.org is the email to email. We're going to finish up with the Karen Drucker song that we've been doing all month. Let love lead the way. When my world is not okay, when there are roadblocks in my way, when I feel so all alone, these words will bring me home. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. When we can't see eye to eye, no matter how we try, we can find our harmony if you sing along with me. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. In everything, love will be the gift I bring, to give and to receive, straight from the heart. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Each morning when I wake, there's a choice that I can make. In everything I do and say, I'll let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, let love lead the way. 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 Oh, let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. lead the way.